Valhalla Respawn Part 1. Game over. John adjusted his headset and leaned closer to the monitor. The boss raid was reaching its climax, and his party depended on his timing. DPS switch phases now. He shouted into the mic. His fingers danced across the keyboard like a concert pianist. Flames, ice, and lightning erupted on screen. His character, Zalrian, was at full power. Then the lights flickered. A low hum filled the room. Weird, he mumbled, noticing his keyboard pulse unnaturally. The screen glitched static, then black. A sharp pain struck his chest. His breath caught, the room twisted, and everything went dark. Silence, cold, wind, the scent of iron and ash. John opened his eyes. He lay on snow-dusted ground beneath a crimson sky. Fires crackled in the distance. Warriors cheered, clashing swords around him. "Rise, newcomer," a deep voice boomed. John sat up slowly, heart pounding. Massive warriors in fur and iron surrounded him. One offered a hand, a grizzled man with a horned helm and a face like carved stone. "Welcome to Valhalla," he said, grinning. "Valhalla? The Valhalla," John muttered, confused. "Am I dead?" Laughter erupted. "You fought bravely, they say," the warrior said. "Now you fight forever." John staggered to his feet, glancing at his reflection in a shattered shield. Not his body. It was Zalrian's, his game avatar. Long silver hair, glowing blue eyes, armored robes and all. "This isn't possible," he whispered, but the burning sword on his back begged to differ. "Arm yourself, John of Earths," another warrior barked. "The beasts come." The ground rumbled beneath their feet. From the misted forest, grotesque shadows emerged, towering monsters with too many limbs. "Hold the line," someone yelled. Instinct kicked in. John reached for the sword. It slid from the sheath like it belonged there. A HUD flickered briefly in his vision. Ability: Flame Slash. Ready. Mana. Same %. "What the hell?" he whispered, but his hands moved on their own. A beast lunged. John sidestepped, spun, and brought the blade down in a fiery arc. The monster screamed, engulfed in flames. The others roared in approval. "He's one of them," someone cried. A player-born wave after wave came. John fought like he was still behind a keyboard, but this time it was real. Every dodge, every strike, every spell, pure muscle memory. Hours passed, or minutes. Time twisted in this place. At last the field fell quiet. Bodies, human and monstrous, littered the blood-stained snow. John collapsed to his knees, panting. "What the hell is this?" The old warrior approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. "This is the afterlife, gamer, but not the one you were promised." John looked up, his eyes filled with questions. "Then why am I here?" "Because you remember how to fight like no one else, because the gods are gone, and because something worse is coming." Thunder cracked in the distance. A shadow spread across the mountains. The sky dimmed further. "The old beasts stir," the warrior muttered. "Even Odin fears them." John swallowed hard. "So what now?" The warrior grinned. "Now, you learn to be a true warrior, because this game never ends." John tightened his grip on the sword and didn't look away. Valhalla Respawn Part 2. The fires were still smoldering when the howling began. A sound not of pain, but of power. A monstrous voice that cracked the sky. The warriors who moments ago cheered for John now fell silent, their breath caught in their throats. From the tree line emerged a creature twice the height of any man, hulking, fur covered with claws like iron and glowing eyes like embers in a storm. But what drew every gaze was the hammer. It carried massive, etched with runes that shimmered with black fire. The old warrior who had welcomed John stepped forward. "Fenrig," he growled. "The beastborn of the Black Moon." He gripped his axe tighter. "We are not ready for him." Before John could ask what that meant, Fenrig moved. The beast lunged forward with terrifying speed, and the first warrior in its path was crushed beneath the hammer like dry bark. Others tried to form a shield wall, but the beast's strength was overwhelming. One swing sent 3 warriors flying into the trees. Another shattered a shield as if it were glass. Roars of rage turned into screams. The battlefield became a massacre. John stood frozen, heart hammering. This wasn't a game anymore. He wasn't behind a screen. He could feel the fear now, sweat, blood, wind cutting against his face. But then, something shifted inside him. A flicker of memory. A boss, a raid, a creature in a game terrifyingly similar to this one, a werebeast, with crushing attacks and slow wind-ups. He remembered how they beat at speed. Relentless, calculated speed. His vision pulsed. A HUD appeared again, faint but clear. Runner points 34 from recent kills. Upgrade path available. Speed, endurance, magic. Without hesitation, John chose speed. The points drained, his body surged lighter, faster. His feet shifted without thought, almost floating. Fenrig turned to him, nostrils flaring. The beast charged. John moved. Not like a man, like wind. The hammer came down, but he was already gone, sliding beneath the blow like a shadow. Another swing, John was to the side, then behind, dodging in ways no human could. The world narrowed. Every movement was instinct. He wasn't reacting anymore, he was predicting. New ability unlocked. Shadow Step, short range teleport. New ability unlocked. Rift Blade, dimensional slash. The knowledge flooded him like deja vu. He reached deep focus then. The world snapped. One moment he stood before Fenric, the next he reappeared behind him, sword glowing with a violet edge that sliced through air itself. Rift blade activated. He swung, the dimensional edge tore through fur, flesh and bone. Fenric staggered, howled, spun too slow. John teleported again, a whisper on the battlefield. He appeared above the beast, and brought the sword down with both hands straight through Fenric's neck. The head hit the ground with a heavy thud. The body crashed a second later. Silence, then cheers, roars, cries of disbelief. The old warrior approached slowly, eyes wide. "You could him." John lowered his blade, breathless. "I remembered how." The warrior nodded, almost in awe. "You truly are a player born." John stared at the fading remains of Fenric's body, already dissolving into ash and black runes. A single word burned itself into the snow. First trial passed. But deep within the forest, far beyond the battlefield, something else had awakened. Valhalla Respawn, Part 3. The system awakens. Fenric's monstrous body collapsed into the snow, dissolving into black ash as if the world itself rejected his existence. John stood motionless, sword in hand, the last flickers of rift energy dancing along its edge like dying stars. The battlefield was silent. The wind held its breath. Then, the ground beneath him began to glow. Ancient runes seared themselves into the snow, forming a message pulsing with otherworldly power. Playerborn level up. System core awakened. Sync level, 5%. Multiverse memory access enabled. New path unlocked. Transcendent class abilities. A hum filled the air, deep resonant, as if the very code of this realm had stirred. The light shifted and then the interface appeared, not the shallow HUD from before. This one was alive, vast, and cosmic in scale. Menus opened like constellations, symbols, memories, fragments of other worlds hovered before him. Games, yes, but now, gateways. Each glowing icon was a scar on his past, a whisper from another universe. And then he saw it. Burning at the center of the array, God of War. A warning flickered, almost reluctant. Multiverse integration, restricted divine class abilities. Sync risk, high soul integrity, unstable. Proceed. John exhaled slowly. He didn't hesitate. "Proceed," he whispered. The world ignited. Flames burst from his veins. Chains coiled around his forearms, etched with ancient Norse runes that burned with the fury of titans. He felt it, the memory of a godslayer surging into his bones. Not a copy, not a simulation. The true essence of power. A mark blazed onto his chest, the seal of chaos, but with the power came wrath, immortality, the knowledge of war beyond war. New subclass unlocked, demigod shade. Abilities gained, wrath of the fallen, temporal invulnerability, Godbreaker strike. Warning, system sync at 5%. Higher synchronization may exceed divine threshold. John dropped to one knee, not from pain, but from the sheer weight of what he had become. He wasn't playing the game anymore. He was the game. Myth, code, and will woven into flesh. A tremor split the sky. Reality cracked. A portal opened in the clouds, massive, burning, its edges streaked with fractured time. The world had felt his rise, and it answered. John stood slowly, eyes glowing with purpose. The warriors behind him didn't speak. Even they hardened, death-forged, souls feared what he now was. John stared into the rift. He could feel other realms shifting. New threats, new gods, but none of it frightened him, because he understood as his sync percentage rose, so would his potential. With every victory, every level, every memory unlocked, he drew closer to a power the gods had long abandoned. And if this path continued, he would become something more. "From now on," he said quietly, voice ironclad, "no one threatens me." Far across the world, in buried halls and broken thrones, ancient eyes opened. The system had noticed him, and it would not stay silent. Valhalla Respawn Part 4, Shadows of the Forgotten. The portal's fiery glow faded, but its presence lingered like a pulse in the air. John lowered his sword, feeling the weight of countless eyes watching from beyond the veil. The world had changed, no longer just a battleground, but a nexus of infinite realms, each with its own dangers and mysteries. Whispers echoed through the frozen forest, voices of the forgotten souls who had once fought and fallen here. They called to John, their words barely audible but heavy with warning. "Beware the shadows," they murmured. "Not all beasts come with claws and teeth. Some crawl beneath the skin." John tightened his grip on his sword, sensing something darker stirring beneath the snow. The warriors around him shifted uneasily, their eyes darting toward the tree line where no light reached. A chill unlike any cold spread through the air, silent, patient, and deadly. From that darkness emerged figures cloaked in tattered shadows, their forms barely human. They moved with unnatural grace, striking from the shadows with blades that seemed to drink the light. The forgotten lost souls, twisted by rage and despair, had returned to reclaim their place in the endless war. John's vision sharpened as the HUD flickered again, displaying new stats and unknown icons. Corruption rising, it warned. Soul fractures detected. He knew this fight would be unlike any before. No brute force, no raw power would save him, only cunning and speed. As the shadow warriors advanced, John felt a surge of new energy awaken inside. The seal of chaos burned hotter on his chest, and a voice ancient in cold whispered promises of power in exchange for sacrifice. The battle for his soul had begun. The clash erupted like a storm. Shadows danced and slashed, their blades shimmering with stolen light. John moved with deadly precision, weaving through the darkness as if he was part of it. Each strike from his sword ignited the air with chaotic fire, cutting through shadow and flesh alike. The forgotten warriors fought with fury born of endless torment. Their attacks were swift and relentless, aiming to overwhelm and corrupt. But John's newly unlocked abilities pulsed through him. Shadow Step allowed him to vanish and reappear in a heartbeat, while Rift Blade carved dimensional wounds in the enemy's ranks. The battle dragged on, each moment heavier than the last. Shadows clawed at his mind, trying to fracture his will. But John's resolve was ironclad. With the final surge, he unleashed the Godbreaker Slash, a devastating blow that shattered the Dark Horde's core, sending corrupted spirits howling into the void. Silence fell over the snow-covered field. The air was thick with the scent of burnt shadows and cold victory. The warriors around John looked to him with awe and gratitude, their exhaustion mingling with exhilaration. The forgotten had been banished, at least for now. A low murmur grew into cheers, the sound carrying through the frozen forest like a rising tide. Fires flared brighter as the warriors lit great pyres in honor of their fallen comrades and the new hero among them. Songs were sung, tales shared of the player born who defied death and darkness alike. John stood amid the celebration, sword resting at his side, eyes scanning the crimson horizon. The seal of chaos still glowed faintly on his chest, a reminder of the power he wielded on the burden he bore. This victory was a milestone, but the war was far from over. As the night deepened, the portal flickered once more in the distance. New challenges awaited beyond its edge. Yet for now, there was triumph, camaraderie, and a fleeting moment of peace in the endless game.